Okay, it's gonna be good. All right, everyone, time to get ready. All right, today's gonna be a good day. I've got new boxes to open, new stuff to do. It's gonna be fantastic. Okay, guys, I think I might be set up. I think I might finally be set up. All right, sorry about all that. I had to set up the cameras and I have to make sure that everything is kind of set up perfectly, because things, believe it or not, like stuff just gets in the way. And I've got some cool stuff that I wanted to go over. Hold on. So guys, today's going to be the first day that I'm using all new audio hardware. Can you guys hear me okay, by chance? Because just because it's showing up here on my screen doesn't mean that you guys are getting it, as I found out once before, unfortunately. So I hope you guys can hear me just fine. Anyway, so I've got a whole collection of stuff that people want me to fix. And you can see back there, I have a whole pile of boxes from stuff that's been shipped to me and whatnot, and it's been fantastic, guys. So one of the first things I wanted to go over, man, so I've gotten a lot of requests from people to just do teardowns, and because you can learn a lot more from a teardown than from normal just repair videos, right? So I don't necessarily go into every single problem, but by knowing the theory of every single motor, every single board, you're okay. And in doing so, I thought there is no more perfect symphony of technology than in a modern day smart robot. Hear me out, guys. I know a lot of people may not favor tech in your home like that, but if you have the right environment, one of these guys can and will make your life better. And especially if you have like all hardwood floors or something, man, these robots are just fantastic. You'll have a cleaner house than you ever imagined. But so anyway, this little guy right here, I do have something going on with it. So you can see, I'm glad that my video's working. Man, I'm so glad. This thing, jeez. Anyway, here, let me put these guys on. So guys, I'm also starting something new. I'm going to allow people to call in, and I do have things set up so that through WhatsApp, if you guys have never used WhatsApp, I know a lot of people around the world use it, and not too many Americans do, but I do have a WhatsApp account set up so people can call in from around the world for free, as long as they have an internet connection. And you know, we can maybe work out some of their problems, or just give them a chat about what biomed's like around the world. And I'm hoping that it works out correctly. So I've got my guy working on a graphic for it so that we'll be doing some WhatsApp call-ins, which is, it's going to make it so cool. So this right here is a iRobot by Roomba, and it is a smart device. Now this normally sits in here like so, and that's its waste receptacle. The waste receptacle has a couple different chambers, so you can tell it's definitely not the cleanest thing in the world. And I believe that the turbofan is right here on part of this. I don't know. I've never opened it up. Maybe today's the day. But the filter is up and under here. I do believe that it does have a HEPA filter included. But surprisingly efficient little device. Now, given this one here is going to be dirty, I just pulled it out of storage because it has not been behaving itself correctly. It's really not a complex device. So it's got two large power wheels, and they're individually powered so that it can steer left or right very efficiently. And this one here is just an idler wheel. It just rotates around, doesn't really do very much. The battery is located up and under here. It's got this sweeper right here, which is supposed to get the corners and whatnot. And this guy has not been working correctly. And that's part of the reason why I've gotten upset and why this thing has been in storage. Maybe it's because I've always wanted to do a teardown for it. But there is a whole host of sensors on this guy. And you'll see like there's some IR sensors here and over here. There's bump sensors, like this entire pad right here is a bump sensor. So it can detect obstacles. It has got an IR blaster and probably an IR receiver right here. It has a camera that is located right here, that's located kind of an upward angle, and it maps out the room as it's going through. And I don't know the level of intelligence on this particular robot, because some of the more famous brand names, they always get lazy when it comes to technology, and some of their competition, specifically like the Chinese competition, always do a little bit better. They're a little more creative. So while this was a pretty good robot when it came out, it has definitely served me and the family quite well for years. It's just got some bigger issues, and that's why I have no problem pulling it apart. This is the docking station. You can see the contacts here on the bottom. They made up with the contacts here on the dock. And some of the interesting things about this guy, you can't tell, but right up here in this window, there is probably an infrared communications. So it probably communicates with the base right here, but this right here is an IR blaster, which throws out a wave or a fan pattern, and this guy detects that wave or fan pattern right here, and it will steer itself towards the dock based on this. So if the signal strength is getting weaker, it turns back in the opposite direction, and that's how it does it. It goes weaker to stronger. So that is the top side. There's a couple more infrared sensors right here, and infrared sensors can tell the robot about depth, can tell it a lot about depth. Man, I got just all sorts of stuff on it. So if it's nearing an edge, this right here, it will detect a signal loss all of a sudden, and the robot will stop because it knows it's at the edge of something like stairs. So it's got signal, and all of a sudden it reaches open. It's got a blaster, an IR blaster, and an IR detector. So the signal is looking to read the signal, and as soon as it doesn't, because it reaches the edge of a surface, the signal drops out, and it knows to stop the robot on a halt. Wow, this thing, I should have cleaned it before I started doing the video. It's driving me crazy. Okay, so so that's how the dock system works, and it looks like it's got some sort of communication hub inside it, which I'm not really sure, but it definitely looks like it's got an IR type of serial communications. All right, so we've got the chamber, we've got this guy over here. We're gonna go ahead and just start pulling it apart, and we always have to start with the battery because the battery is probably gonna make this a dangerous thing to pull apart. I think it's like a 20 volt. You don't want anything arky sparking at 20 volts. Okay. Yes. So this would be the OEM battery. Ah, it's a neat little battery. Okay. So it's obviously, how many cells is it? Lithium ion 20. Well, it's definitely written in a lot of different language. It says lithium ion 20. Oh, right here. There it is. Jeez. 16.4 volts, or 14.4 at 3300. 14.4. Okay, so this has got, what, 4 cells in it for a 14.4. Not too bad. Kind of a hefty. So what they are is they're probably the, what, 13650 cells, those cylindrical cells. It's probably got 4 of them in a series parallel configuration. So in other words, there'll be one here in series, and then they're in no, it's 14. They'd be in a parallel configuration. Series parallel. Yeah, I had it right. Jeez. Anyway, you see the connector on the inside. Very neat that they place those up near the top. Prevents a lot of intrusion into the body. See how it's got a little tiny window right there? So a lot of dust will not get up inside the chassis, and also a lot of liquids will not get up inside the chassis. That's a good design point. Let's see, we got some bumpers right here, some mad bumpers. We've got this little drive gear. So as far as I know, there might be something crammed up underneath this little sweeper head. I don't really feel like it because it feels like it's got a pretty good drive line. There it is. Oh, it did have stuff underneath it. Okay. Well, that doesn't help, does it? All right. So that will definitely help it out. Still possible that that transmission's faulty though. So sometimes it runs, sometimes it doesn't, and it's very annoying like that. There is is this another sensor? There's another type of sensor right here. And it is some sort of optical sensor. You see that? I can see the window. Don't really know what it does. Huh. I have no real idea. Now, I do know that this guy has like a dirt sensor, but I always figured the dirt sensor was like an optical sensor that is located over here on the dirt path. And that would be because it would have to detect how much stuff is being sucked up by the head. Let's see. This guy here, these all just come out. So that's one of the cool things about these robots is they technically are designed to be user maintained, just nobody ever does. Okay, so I've got a couple other sensors floating around up in here. One of them is the disc. I don't know what that disc does. That could be my dirt sensor. Probably is, in fact, because if it acts like a microphone and it detects the amount of pulses that hit it, like particles that are hitting that diaphragm, then that would work for a dirt sensor because, you know, the more particles that hit it, the more times the robot has to go over an area. All right, so let's see. These guys here look like they're trapped. The upper cover just kind of wants to pull off, so I guess let's just start pulling out some fasteners. Oh, hold on, guys. Here we go. Okay. So I honestly have no clue how to pull this thing apart. As I've said so many times on this channel, I've never done this before. We're all in for the ride, okay? So I'm figuring out how this bump strip is held on. Okay. All right. Ooh, I'd say it definitely needs to be pulled apart and cleaned because I can see stuff up and around the edge. All right, so I got a whole series of Phillips 1 screws all around the perimeter. Let's go ahead and start pulling out all of these guys, and they should make my bump strip pull apart. So these robots, you know, they first started out as just a sweeper, and they were just they had an algorithm that was based on error. So the first ones would just bump into a surface, and then they were trained to go like 30 degrees to the right, and then it would bump into something and 30 degrees to the right. And then that's how it mapped out the entire floor, which they didn't technically really map. It was just by error that it would try and cover the entire area. So the new ones are pretty smart. They can detect solid objects like chairs. They can detect ledges like the edges of stairs and whatnot. And the robots have just gotten so much more reliable. Now they've got mopping robots, which my house has got a lot of hardwood floors. And I can tell you for a fact, I have been so tempted to just go and get, whew, oh my goodness. Oh, guys, I hope you're not sensitive to dirt. Because that, I mean, medical equipment is dirty enough, man. This is no better. All right, so here is the top of my bump strip. Trying to keep all my screws and stuff together. Come on. There we go. These teardown mats are so nice. Keep all my parts in one area. Okay, so here's the flippy floppy guy. All right. Oh, cool. I see a couple more sensors. Ultrasonic sensors. Oh, I'm so glad we're doing a teardown. Okay. So I've got one cable. Oh, hold on. Let me change it so y'all can see. I've got one cable right here. Come on, come on. Okay. It looks like this cable here goes up through a little yoke. And it plugs in up and under this lip. Holy cow, there's so much more to this device than I thought. So these right here look like ultrasonic sensors, these two. In fact, it's probably not good that I'm touching them like that, but I believe that that's what those are. And this is kind of rough because I need to get in here. So there's tiny little UV right here. You can see there's one, there's one. See how they're covered in dirt? Those sensors do not work well when they're covered in dirt. And then there's infrared senders and detectors all around the perimeter. Look at this whole thing. There's one, there's one, there's one. So this is a emitter. The dark ones are emitters. The light ones should be the detectors. And they're just everywhere around the perimeter of this device. So what it does is it shines out an invisible light that goes off a surface, and then when it detects that that light intensity, the gain is going up, it knows it's getting closer and closer to an object. So all these right here, there's a whole perimeter of little LEDs, infrared detectors and emitters. How cool. Let's see, I've got a couple more screws. It's starting to get a little floppy now that the outer front is missing. Oh my gosh. So this is like a crown that should just kind of lift off. And you can kind of see right here, there's like plastic latches. And I don't want to break them. You can see these are the spring arms for the bump plate. What else do I see on this? So I thought that this thing, the bump plate, was activating micro switches, but I see no micro switches around here. There's none. So that's pretty wild. Here, tell you what. I'm just going to remove this front strip by taking apart the little LED blaster. I don't want to have to keep fighting this system. There it is. So there it is. Now I can take this guy and move it off the table. All right. Clearly, these guys, I really wish that they would have done a better job of making the covers so that they just pop off. Because since it's a vacuum, it does have natural suction. And when it has natural suction, that means that there's going to be like little crevices and stuff that are going to just pick up a lot of the dirt that it just stirs up. And as you see, it's everywhere. Okay, so I like that they labeled each of the drive lines. Like this one here says L for left. And it looks like they come out as modules. So my left drive line and my right drive line hopefully just pull out. That'd be so cool. Come on, come on. So my fastener's acting like it's captive. There it goes. I gotta force it up. And I guess I'll just pull the whole entire sweeper tray. Let's see, and there's these two back here. Very cool manufacturing process. It looks like everything just kind of fits in modules. Yep. Come on, there it goes. There's the sweeper tray, 4 screws. How cool is that? All right. And you can see there is a card right here that interfaces with a slot, and that I bet you that little guy right there is like an ultrasonic sensor for detecting how much dirt is in the region. And that sensor is completely covered. So I got to find a way to gently clean that guy before I put this back together. I probably will put it back together. Oh, there's one more screw up here holding the left drive line in. My bad. How genius. I love that. Guys, every once in a while I see some stuff that is just absolutely amazing. And yeah, there's some spiders up in there. So the drive line is it's got the same type of port, and it plugs in down here into the base right here. So it's all modular. It comes out. There's no cables. It's just a port, and it plugs in, and now you have a new drive wheel. That is so cool. I love it when manufacturers do some really interesting things. This definitely makes this a repairable item. I wish the covers were operated a little better, but the fact that I can just go in, take out 3 screws, and my entire wheel, because the wheel is probably one of the main things that's going to break. There it is. It's out. It's done. Holy cow. I love it. So this right here is the item that gave me the most conflict. The whole reason I'm pulling it apart. This is the little sweeper. Boop. Okay. Again, absolutely genius. So there's 2 contacts on the back of the motor, and there's 2 springs up inside the chassis. And that is how it interfaces. So that is a always on motor, I guess, but it also makes it very easy for us to test. So all I got to do is take it over to my regulated DC power supply and hook it up. And let's see, does it have a voltage? Well, we can safely say that it doesn't go any higher than the 14.4 volts, right? So I should be able to run it off of like 9 volts, and it should be just fine. Yep, so that's all it is 2 contact points, and it's got maybe a belt inside there. I don't know. I'm a little too curious, guys. Come on. What the heck? All right. They're getting smart on me. It's got the little 3-prong. Jeez, this is a messy desk. It's got the little 3-prong screw holding it together. That's okay. Let's see. Does iFixit kit have the 3-prong? it does. Yes. Yes. All right. Beautiful. Love it. So there's that little screw. And it should be holding this whole cover on. Right? Oh, there's a plastic latch right there. And so for these plastic latches, I'm going to try and be as gentle as possible, because they like to break. There we go. All right, it's got a gear. It's got nylon gears. Okay. So there you have it. My gears are not stripped out either. Nope, feels good. So that was the other thing I was considering, is that whatever was in the driveline for this guy, because there's got to be some sort of gear reduction, I was expecting it to be broken or to have slippage. And I don't think I have either of those. Looks like it's A-okay. Let's go ahead and see if I can match it back up. Here we go. That's a trip that they use that little 3-prong screw. And thanks to iFixit for having the actual bit. Yay. Okay. Put that guy off the side. So this module here looks like it's fine. We will hook it up to the DC power supply and test it out. Part of the problem is that it was intermittent. So sometimes it would run, sometimes it would stop running. And that was what led me to think that maybe one of the gears was cracked or something. But maybe it was just slippage because there was all that stuff wound up here on the bottom side. You can see the wear marks. Now that it's cleaned out, maybe it's going to work fine. All right. So my guy that does my logos and stuff, and a lot of my stuff, my intros, he just wrote me and said that my logo is ready for the WhatsApp. Excellent. So I'm a firm believer in outsourcing certain things. I've got a whole nother video I'm going to do on my 80-20 theory. And that is that 80% of the stuff that you can do is going to be easy and you're most efficient at it. There's 20% of the stuff that you're required to do on the day-to-day that you should find a way to outsource. And that is because that 20% of your workload that is really difficult or it's easy for somebody else, it's going to take 40 to 50% of your time. So believe it or not, we waste a lot of our time on a minority of the workload. That's just pretty much clinical engineering or repairs in general. So one of the things that I do is I outsource a lot of my video editing, because if somebody else can do it, why would I do it, right? There's certain things that only I can do, and that's how you improve your efficiency. So I've got a whole video I'm going to do on it very soon, because it's a concept that I've developed over time, and I call it the 80-20, because 80% of the workload you can do yourself, but there's 20% that you should try to outsource. That way there you maintain your own efficiency. So I said earlier that I thought the bump strips were activating on micro switches. I found what they're activating on. It's right here, these little arms. But that is not a micro switch. There's a better chance that that is a Hall effect sensor. And there's a series of plastic latches all around the perimeter. So I see some up here. And then there's a middle ring. So there's an upper clamshell, there's a middle, and there might be a lower section. And it is not going to be fun to pull that guy apart. Maybe I'll just get the upper cover off. So I got a couple extra screws up and under here. Let's see if I can even get to them. Okay. Let's see. Catherine, how you doing, man? So one of the things I can do to make this a more efficient vacuum is obviously clean the window right, because if it can't map out the house, then it's not going to work very well. There we go. You guys are probably seeing me do a repair no-no right now. A regular Phillips did not want to fit in here, but I found a smaller flat blade that I was able to pull out those Phillips head screws without having to pull off this guy. So that's kind of a big plus. There we go. Stage all those fasteners over here. There we go. And now we need to figure out how to pull off this upper shroud. So right here is a lock. See that? Right here is one. Yeah, they're plastic snaps. Okay. And it looks like it goes all the way over to here. All right. What? I did not know that. Guys, oh my gosh, see? Some of the coolest stuff that you find out when you tear something apart. Look what's right here. It's got a mini USB. It's hidden underneath this. So that's how you could program it with new firmware and even hack the device, which I know there's a bunch of videos out there where people hack these things, and I never knew how they did it. Right there. That's your way in. How cool is that? So those two strips just pull off. And I was expecting there to be screws underneath them, but there's not. Okay. And looks like this cover just held on by plastic snaps. Yep, there it is. Okay. There it is. Excellent. So there's the little camera. And it's got a little black boot. So I need to clean that out before I put it back together. You can see my dirty hands just got... So this boot here is not supposed to have anything reflective, clearly. Now that I just put a bunch of dirt in there, that's not going to be good. So I've got some light tubes down here. So there's little LEDs that are surface mount, and they shine up the light tube, and then that light tube goes right over top the surface mount buttons. That's weird. Okay. I thought that this one here had more than one button, but there's a button right in the middle, so no matter where you press, it's always the same button. I didn't know that. Okay. And once we got that top cover off, there's a whole collection of screws. Now we have full access to. This is a beautiful piece of tech. I don't care how anybody feels about the vacuums themselves, but when you consider what this thing can do, all the different environments it has to navigate on its own, and it's autonomous, because my guy right here is not hooked up to the internet in any way. It just does its thing. So I believe that was all the screws. Feels like it's ready to pop off. Very carefully. Because, in other words, I'm going to have screws everywhere. I love all the little zones in these teardown mats, so I can place my screws according to what I see. Everybody's got their own way of tearing stuff apart, man. I just try to, keep my stuff as organized as possible. Okay, so I did have one extra screw back here that I was missing, and likewise over here. There we go. Nice. This is still a very repairable item, man. I like it. There's a little bit of dirt by the camera. That's interesting. So there's a port right here, and you can see in the vacuum port there's a hidden port. They got a little rubber stopper. Never noticed that thing before. So there's normally some sort of programming bar that obviously the OEM is using. They plug in here to interface with this card, and that's how they're programming the vacuum. You got some sort of proprietary bus there. So, so they call this the mobility board. So it is probably monitoring all the sensors. Remember I was telling you that there is all these LEDs around the perimeter. You can see all the wires to them right here. All the way around. I did say that there was a camera or some other sensor up under here. Whoop, sorry guys. Right here. And that is this ribbon cable right here. I wish it was labeled what it does. Unfortunately, it's not. There seems to be some sort of parallel cable that goes between the two boards. And this back one is probably the brains. So this one here, it's got an ARM processor, and it's also got the Wi-Fi module. It's got some power regulation going on up here. So this is the main board, but this one looks like it's got the memory. So is this the video processing board? That's probably what this guy is. So it's got some power regulation. This right here is the camera controller. And it's got its own CPU clock. It's got its own crystal clock. Crazy. I wish I knew more about what these boards did. They don't really have them labeled too well. I'm guessing this is a video processing board, and that this guy here is the camera controller, and this one here is, they call it the mobility board, but since it's got the large ARM controller, this one has to take all the inputs and stuff and figure out what to do with them. Cool stuff, man. And right here is that infamous mini USB or micro USB that plugs in over here. So if that's the USB, so this is the main CPU of the entire device. It looks like it's got some USB headers. So if you wanted to solder in your own USB, you could probably talk to this board if this port right here doesn't work. Cool stuff. And on the underside, it's just the terminals, the through terminals. They just come up to this board. The battery is on the underside of that board. Very cool. And we've got the IR sensors that I told you about that are on the perimeter. And over here, they all plug into this board. Wow. All right. And it's got the Wi-Fi antenna, of course, over on the side. Cool stuff. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. This guy here, let me get a bin so I can bin this guy up proper. Well, you know, from a privacy standpoint, you don't have to put the devices on your Wi-Fi network. I mean, that's up to you. Which I think maybe I did, but if you guys are under the impression whatsoever that you have some sort of privacy by now, you have been deceived. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to box up some of these parts because they need to get cleaned if I'm going to put them back together. There's no way I'm just going to reassemble and call it a day. So each and every one of these components is going to get cleaned. Clean like that ultrasonic sensor right there. Got to get cleaned. And then I will try it all back together. What a cool group of tech. All right, let me just move this guy off because I have several devices to tear apart today, and that's why this is just convenient that I do a live stream, because I have no idea what I'm going to encounter. Like I had no idea that there's going to be a whole family of spiders inside that device. I had no idea. Let's take all these so I can keep them all in the same spot. All right. Maybe I'll get one of those Chinese vacuums and try and pull them apart and see what the difference is. Because believe it or not, a lot of those have much better tack than you know, some of these Roomba iRobots. It's just crazy the amount of tech. All right, so give me a moment. I'm going to switch some stuff around and bring up my next item because I got stuff to do today, guys. We are just going to run from device to device. So hold on just 1 minute. Okay. Wow. So one of the things I've been trying to play around with is now that I have more audio controls, I can do a lot more things. So there's just a lot more freedom, and I can now have guests that come here and they help me do the show, because it is not always easy for me to do some of these topics alone. All right, let's see. I've got, one of the things I need to do better as a tech is I need to have more of these like plastic bags, or even sectioned off plastic bags. I need to do better. I need to come up with a better system. Maybe some of those little tackle boxes, you know which ones I'm talking about, the ones that only about yay big, because when I tear a device apart, I like to section off the screws, because when I tear them apart, I section off the screws, as you guys just seen. So if I'm sectioning off the screws, I need to keep them separate until the time of reassembly, and that's the part that I got to do better on. So I need to come up with a better system, and I'm thinking about just getting a bunch of those cheap little multi-compartment little tackle boxes, you know, the little ones. And then when you tear a device apart, you stick the tackle box in with the device, so when you go to put it back together, all your fasteners are right there. I have traditionally done like the plastic baggies, but again, plastic baggies are not the best option. They're easy to get thrown out. They can booger off in a heartbeat because, I mean, it just looks like trash, right? And all your fasteners get mixed up together. That is annoying. So all the hard work that I just did about sectioning off all the fasteners, it's all moot now, right? All right. So I am a huge fan of cleaning up my space. So sorry, guys. I got to brush off some of the garbage. Yuck. Okay, now I think we're ready for the next thing. Oop. Here we go. Our next item on the chop block, we've got a Connex 6000. It was brought into me, and their complaint was that the SPO2 was defective. Or not the SPO2, the NIBP. That's right. They said the NIBP was defective. Luckily, I've got a few of the NIBPs, right? So one of the cool things is we can take one of these NIBPs apart, and we can manually trigger the motor, and we can see if it's truly bad. And if there's a leak, technically you can fix the leak. They're really not that complex. But I've got extra modules regardless, and somebody wants me to go through their device and see if I can fix the NIBP. I honestly do believe that the Connex 6000 series, these ones right here, are some of the best monitors when it comes to repairability. Not because the company is like overwhelmingly throwing the parts out, but because there's so many of these on the market, you can buy whole replacement units and then part them out. It's just amazing the amount of these Connexes that are out on the market. I myself have about 60 of them. I think I have 60 of them left. And that's why I have a whole host of repair parts. So anyway, the Connexes, they will vary from model to model based on the tech that's inside them. This one here, you can see it's got Massimo. But the NIBP should be about the same, right? One of the first things we got to do, just like with the last one, is I got to pull out the battery, if there is one inside it. Right. There we go. Battery's out. The device is safe. Now we can go ahead and start pulling some of the fasteners. Let's do it. All right. So notice, I'm going to attempt to keep all my parts in one region. I suffer from the same flat surface syndrome that the rest of you guys do, which means as you take stuff apart, you just want to lay it on the flat surface around you, but that is how you make things disappear. Not a good solution. So there is a Phillips screw here. You're going to see these devices are fantastic when it comes to tear aparts. Fantastic. There's one here, there's one here. There we go. And then I've got a couple up here. I should be using an electric screwdriver to make this go a wee bit faster. Don't I have one here? Hi. You'd think I'd be more organized. Okay, so with the back cover off, there is a couple cables here you got to be somewhat careful of. So there's a network cable right here that snakes down. You just kind of pull it down like that. You got a USB to the back plane. The network cable, I can unplug it. Let's see, here is a USB cable. I've got this little connector right here. There we go. Here's my power supply. And we got what, the cooling fans. It's this one right here. There we go. All right. So now the only one I got left is the network cable right there. And that is just a communication cable between the front plane and the back plane. Easy monitors to repair, that is for darn sure. And let me show you something. This is one of the craziest things about them. These guys right here are USB modules. And see how I can just slide it out? It's on a track. So you can just slide it down like that. So if this guy's the defective one, I'll place it over here. I'll grab another one, plug it in here. This technically could be a 5-minute long repair. Just amazing. Oh, come on. All right, and now I'm ready to put the back plane back on, and we're gonna press on. That's how easy it is. Isn't that crazy? So there is one thing that always boogers off. There's this little notch. So when you pull them apart, just gotta be aware that this guy, it just likes to come up. Just be aware of that. So these monitors here, everything's controlled via these USB cables. It's a beautiful way of doing it because it's a cheap interface and it's a very reliable connection. So it makes swapping things out just a mastery. You don't have to have power and data. You can just do it all in one USB. It's amazing. So this is the defective module, supposedly. Looks like a newer one. Yeah, this one definitely looks newer. So there is these little tracks here on the side which like to gather dust and stuff. And there is a little tiny micro switch, but you can almost see it in this one right down there. That detects when something is fully inserted. And for all I know, the only problem that might have is that that micro switch might be damaged. So when the cable's all the way in, it might be saying that there's nothing attached. We're going to find out because I'm going to open this cover up, and it's a 6-volt motor that's in there, so we can go ahead and run that guy right on the DC power supply. All right. You really like the Philips monitoring stuff. You know, Philips is one of those companies I want to like them and their products. Just like GE, I want to like their products, but some of the newer GE stuff with their really proprietary, very expensive cables makes me think, what were you guys thinking? Absolutely ridiculous. Philips, just the way they are with their licenses, I stopped supporting Philips a long time ago because they are just absolutely reckless with their licenses and the conditions that you have to abide by in order to maintain those licenses if you want to repair your own equipment. It's so stupid. So I'm not a huge fan of Philips. Okay, so this cover here, you see it's got these plastic fingers. Super easy to remove. Now here's a secret that I'm sure a lot of you guys are unaware of. A lot of the NIBP that is throughout the medical world is run by the same exact NIBP pumps. That's right, guys. I'm telling you, a lot of the same units that we use around the entire world are almost the exact same pump. Now there's 2 variants of this pump. There's a 6-volt and then there's a 12-volt. But you can see this guy's clearly labeled that it's a 6-volt. So if you guys have something that is, let's say this guy's damaged, and this module they want to charge me like $1,000 for. Guys, if you have any of these Connex 6000s that you want repaired, let me know. I have so many parts, and I will shoot you a repair quote that is below all of my competition, just because I got so many parts. And you'd be surprised. Things like this motor might not even be bad. We're going to find out in a moment. But these are used in GE, they're used in Philips, they're used in a lot of different devices. Almost every single device I can think of, in some degree, has this exact pump motor, including like, let's say all the fetal monitors out there, like the Coremetrics, they use this motor. I mean, it's mounted on a card, but it's the same motor, it's the same system. Just be careful, there's 6-volt and 12-volt variants. So if you ever have a device that has NIBP that you're throwing out, just take a moment. It's not completely trash. Maybe pull out your pump motor and save it, right? Because these little guys right here, someday, somewhere, you're going to save yourself a lot of hassle. I know that the NIBP pumps often go bad, but I had several of these monitors going bad. That's why I've got these modules. Well, I guarantee you that the pump works, and we can test that. We can test it nice and easily. So you can see right there, the black and the red. I can go ahead and hook that up to the regulated DC power supply, and we can test it out for a current. Okay, which reminds me, man, my phone is just blowing up, y'all. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. This is still during the day. So since it's during the day, I'm still helping to run a business, and I still have business stuff going on. It is what it is. Okay. So let's see. I want to run all the way over to this camera. Wires from my DC power supply. What I need to do is I need to run wires around and have ports right here on the back wall. Because if I ran ports over to this wall, all I'd have to do is flick on the power supply over here, adjust it to what I want, and I can troubleshoot from over here or from right here. That'd make it so much easier. So much easier, guys. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch camera angles, bring you guys over to this guy right here. and then I'll show you guys how we test random objects. Here we go. Okay. Let's do black to black, red to red. Sure. Okay. So let's bring you over right here so that you guys can see what I'm doing. So it's a 6-volt motor. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up for 6 volts. And let's see. Sorry guys, I'm working on getting this guy tied in for you. And let's go ahead and let's set the current. So with regulated DC power supplies, we clip them together, and now we can set the current. So it's set at 0.25 of an amp, which should be plenty at 6 volts. So here we go. This is our motor. And we can connect the red to the red, so easy. Black to the black. Okay. Okay, at 0.25 of an amp, it is stalling out. So the next step would be to increase the amperage. Let's set it a little bit higher. Let's set it up to 1 amp. 0.9, 1 amp. Okay. So, as you guys probably imagine, a motor that's pumping air is probably going to pull a reasonable amount of current. You guys can hear it there? That's 6 volts. And when I completely occlude it, it is running 0.25 of an amp. And when I unocclude it, I'm pulling 0.37 of an amp. It appears to be working pretty good, huh? Okay. So, using that regulated DC power supply, I can test these guys out and I can see if they're getting hot. I mean, at 0.3 of an amp, it was running absolutely fine, pumping this little heart out. So this guy here is probably okay. We're going to go ahead and pull it apart on camera just so you can see what's inside one of these low motors, because I've got extras. this one here, they said it was showing a leak, I believe, which this guy here, when I was pressing my finger down on it, it wasn't really giving a hiss of air, like it built up pressure. All right, so let's go ahead and let's take her apart piece by piece. And let's see, for that I'm gonna need my little Phillips. So there is 3 little screws that hold this cap on, and the cap is basically holding the motor to the valve body, which is right here. And it looks like this foam tape is wrapped around right here, so I might have to rip the tape in order to get them to separate. All right. Oh, nope, it's not. Cool. All right. Nice. Okay, so let's show you guys what's going on here. So we have an irregular pattern that is being set off by the rotating motor right here. And you can see that the shaft is going towards the center of rotation, but it is offset. And that offset is going to go up in here, and we have 3 little plungers So it's a single stage air compressor, but it's got 3 little plungers. And what it's doing is it's doing this. And then that means up here underneath, there needs to be little reed valves. Hold on, let me get this guy out of the way. So there's little reed valves that control the flow, the direction of, there it goes. Yep, there they are. So here's the pistons, which are technically just membranes. And then right here are the little reeds. Very cool. So it looks like it's pulling air from, okay, so it's pulling air in from the sides, which is this one. So this one here is the input. This one here is the output in the middle. Yep. So they all combine towards the center as a collective. Very cool. Now, normally when I pull these apart, you're going to see little bits of sand or something underneath these flaps, or you'll see these flaps are tore. These ones are fine. I can probably put this guy back together, tighten it back down, and it will probably work absolutely fine. The other thing I was looking for is those little membranes that are in there. When you pull on them, to see if they're tore or dry rotted, because they're just little telescopic silicone membranes, and if one of them cracks a hole, then that ruins all of them. This one here is just a regular 6-volt motor, like a hobbyist motor. But you can find these things all over the place. So if you have a device that's got NIBP, go ahead and save it. Like these guys here, these NIBP modules, just save them. They're so easy to change out. These are probably the most serviceable medical devices that I've tore apart in a while. And for that very reason, it's all regular connections, USBs, Ethernet internally. How cool. Let me slide these guys out. The only thing that's stupid is this little guy right here. This guy's ridiculous. It always falls out, which it just did right now. There we go. Okay. And let's see, my back plane. This guy right here. So Ethernet. All right, I got plenty of space for that one. Come on. I don't know if the camera's picking this up very well. Here, let me turn it. As I turn it, I also lose a little bit of vision. And what I really need is a set of pliers to get this guy down in there. Come on. There it is. Okay, and then this guy comes over here. Stop. The Ethernet cable's gonna wear me out. Okay, there's that one. And I've got these two right here. Okay. That and like that. This guy. And then the Ethernet. Wow, and that's all of them. There we are. How cool. Now I got the 4 perimeter screws. Oh. Now, I don't have a patient simulator here to test this guy out. I wish I did. I don't even know if I've got an NIBP cuff to test it out. So I'll probably have to take it into work and check it out, see how it's doing. There we go. That's it. All those modules fit in there nice and beautifully. So easy. I love it. Let's see, we can throw this guy back in, like so. Right? And then all I gotta do is hook up my temperature and the other cables. We're good. I guess we should probably turn it on, right? Okay, we got lights. We have a display. Unexpected restart. Yeah, I'm sure. Anyway, guys, that's it. You can hear it running the new NIBP. Stop. Beauty. And let's go ahead and shut it down. Let's see, for me to shut this guy down, I think I have to press and hold, like, yeah, 6 seconds. Okay. Anyway, guys. Oh my gosh. Well, let's see. I also have on this really large item behind me, I've got a thermostat to change out on that guy. That's going to be probably not that bad, but we'll find out. I must confess, Welsh Allen's also doing the same with licenses. Oh, trust me, I'm no fan of Welsh Allen. The Irish are definitely doing what they can. It's absolutely reckless. For the Conic spot, you have to follow a training every 2 years, otherwise you can't do a full PM. That's stupid. That's absolutely ridiculous. It's basic Linux. Is it a Linux computer? I mean, it is definitely a computer. Be curious about what the OS is on it. Maybe, because I've got a few of them here, maybe I'll try hacking the OS on them. Seeing maybe if I can load a regular Linux OS on them. That would be kind of cool. Let's see. I have a neural monitor over here that I've got to take apart. I've got, let's see. I'm waiting on parts for this guy. It's the one that caught fire on me. I just got a lot of stuff going on, man. A lot of cool stuff. Jordy says, are those monitors from Welsh Allen? Yes. Yes, they are. Yes, they absolutely are. Long live vintage. Long live vintage. How you doing, man? Oh boy, I need to. The cover of your iFixit tool has a screw separator. Oh, you mean, yeah. Up and under this? Yeah. That's, I don't know. That's kind of a cheesy screw separator at best. I get it, that it could function like that. I think they did it more so as a rigidity thing, but people use it as a screw separator. I don't know. I don't really need it for that because these silicone mats are easily the best thing that I could do. And guys, I've got, oh geez, where do I even start with some of these videos? So, you guys know that I'm starting to write a whole nother speech to tour around the country next year. This time it's going to be on AI, and I'm going to be talking about that, about how you can use AI today to make yourself a little bit more successful. So, it just is what it is, man. Need to change my YouTube ID. This is Christopher Harris, CBET. Christopher Harris, how you doing, man? We hacked the Conic spot and it was Linux. Don't bother to install another OS. That sounds awesome to do. I would expect it to be Linux because of the USB bus that it obviously is talking to. The fact that the modules have USB means that the drivers on whatever OS that's preloaded, the drivers are there. So now I'd be curious if you can run regular Linux PC and run the NIBP module and the SPO2 module and actually make something worth of it. Like a kiosk, something like that. Be interesting. I don't know. Maybe a future project. You guys can see that now I have a 3D printer and I'm going to be doing some stuff with that as well. It's just, gosh darn, I just don't have the time. So in like a week, I've got to go to Minneapolis, a week, 2 weeks maybe. I don't even know. I've been doing a lot of traveling lately, and up until the end of October, I'll be pretty busy, I think. But yeah, anyway, guys, I think I'm going to end the live stream there because this hydrocollator, I want to be able to just run the video like this guy. So I can run my mobile camera setup that's right behind my head here. I can position it anywhere. I just don't know if that's the kind of thing that you guys would like to see, is me changing out a thermostat. It's not the most exciting content in the world. What do you guys think? Should I change out the thermostat now or just do a whole separate video on it? I don't know. I'm up in the air. Okay. So do you guys have any interesting things going on? Why not? I'll watch it. I'll tell you what. Let me clean it off, and I'll reposition my mobile camera here so that you guys can see down into the basin. You guys can actually see. This is the first time I'll be doing actual work on larger items that you guys can see, because now having a mobile camera is such a huge plus, because I can take it off of cables and I can move it around however I need. So this is the thermostat that I need to change out. It's basically just a spring that has got a screw that is creating a certain amount of preload, and that spring is going to close a set of contacts. And this guy right here is a fluid-filled tube, and this fluid-filled tube, the fluid's going to expand, and it's going to press up here and try and activate a micro switch. So as it expands, the fluid pressure comes up into here, and it pushes, and this guy here, the screw, which is your thermostatic control, all it's going to do is adjust the amount of preload on that spring, so that adjusts the amount of expansion that's got to occur before it pushes that micro switch. They're really a simple device, and they're simple to test, but these are one of the things that a lot of biomeds still don't really get it correct. A lot of guys will just buy a replacement even though they never tested the original one, and it's actually pretty simple to test. You've got your points right here, normally open, normally closed, right? So they're going to be normally closed, and then it's going to open when it pushes right here. And you know, the crazy thing is even this expansion chamber, it's calibrated in such a goofy way. Here, let me switch the camera over so you guys can see. So on this tube, you can see it's got this crease down it. Well, they're going to fill it to a certain amount, and then what they're going to do after it's sealed, that's when they're going to squeeze in on this a certain quantity to reach a certain internal pressure. So that's it. They seal it off, they braze it, so the liquid's in there, and then they crimp down on it and squeeze it so it builds a certain amount of pressure, and now it is calibrated. That's it. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I've done several different videos on these units already, and I'm basically going to be really crude about changing this out. Really crude, because I don't have to be friendly about it. With these ones here, if I was trying to salvage a part, then I would be very careful about taking a wire nut and, you know, getting this guy off very carefully. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to cut the tube so I can put a socket on it. And then use the socket to zip it out. It's actually very quick. I've been delaying doing it because, I don't know. I've just been traveling. I've been so busy. You know, I've got 3 kids. Everybody wants their attention. All right, so let's see. Let me see if I can turn this guy around. And I'll show you the mobile camera view. Man, I love this ability. I've always wanted to step up my game when it comes to showing people how to fix things. And now I think I finally can. There we go. Oh, that's beauty. Right there. Okay. Let's switch you over so you can see what I'm doing. Whoop. How about that? Love it, guys. So you can see this is the basin that is not in a good way. All right, so a lot of this right here, that's new. I just cleaned this guy entirely not so long ago. So when it came back to me, and this is the state that it came back in, I was definitely not a happy camper. Because that means that the staff is clearly doing something wrong. These were all brand new parts just a couple months ago. Yeah, I'm being somewhat delicate with them, just trying to clean them up. I don't want to wet them down yet because I'm going to be working in here, right? So anyway, let's just get it a little bit clean. So this right here is the one that I want to change out. This one here, I want to leave exactly where it's at. The heating element itself has got scale on it. See that? It's got all the scale. Jeez. That has to be from something that the customers are doing. I'm going to ohm out that heating element, and I will show you guys if it's good or bad. We'll do that too. I think maybe I already did. But you guys are here for the ride. I'll show you the whole process. So I do absolutely love these M4 Chattanooga heater coolers because they just seem to work. All right. And when they don't work, they're just easy to repair. Okay, so let's see. I need this guy right here. I need some cutters like these. Okay. So I've got regular electrician's pliers. I'm going to cut the old one off. There we go. Oh, and it just sprayed a bunch of fluid up at me. So, oh yeah. So this guy technically wasn't bad. It's just whether or not it had enough crimp, because it wasn't going any higher than 150 degrees, and the customers clearly wanted it at 160 degrees. I could have solved that problem by crimping it just a little bit like they did. And with that crimp, what you're doing is you're increasing the temperature range that it can operate at. But I figured let's just change it out. It smells like, that smells almost like turpentine. Anybody that does like a lot of woodwork, the fluid that's inside this smells exactly like the gloss that you put on woodwork. Jeez. Actually smells kind of good. People that don't do woodwork wouldn't understand. All right. Try and get a socket. Look at that. Man, love it. 19. All right. All right. Step 1. That's done. Let's go ahead and flip it around and show you guys what's going on down below. Hope you guys are ready for a ride. What? Like never before, guys. Okay, hold on. Let me adjust this camera. Okay. All right. Well, that is certainly a dark space. Catherine, this is a heater cooler, and this type of heater cooler is they use it for physical therapy because they heat up packs, and those packs are used to increase blood flow. So that's roughly the crux of it. But anyway, it's so cool that you guys are down here with me for once. So what I'm going to do is right here are the through panels, and I can't see if you guys can see this. Hold on. Okay. So right here, I'm going to clip my pliers on. Oh. Tighten it down a little bit. And it would be nice if I could see. It'd be nice if you guys could see too, huh? Let's see. Where is my light? This that whole preparation thing that I was just talking about. There we go. I knew one of my lights had to work. Okay. All right. So, show you guys what I'm working with. Okay. So right there are my brass through panel fittings, and I'm going to try and clip my pliers on there, like so. There we go. Come on. You would think I have never operated pliers before. Okay. So what I want to do is clip these pliers on a very particular amount, and then I'm going to go up to the top and I'm going to zip that guy out. And what the pliers do is they should create just enough inertia that it allows me to zip it out effortlessly. There it is. So that's my secret for how to do these nice and quickly. All right, so the fastener I'm going to leave up top. And you guys, let's bring you back up so y'all can see what's going on. Okay. I know it's dark. Hold on. Okay, so you can see my pliers. I'm going to pull those down. There we go. Okay. So the next step is to pull the thermostat, which is right there. Those two connections. And then it should just kind of fall out. Let's see if I can stabilize this camera. Sorry, guys. We're working with what we got. I need a second tripod. That's what I need. Okay. There we go. Again, guys, sorry about the shaky camera, but that's why nobody else does repair videos, is because it's cumbersome. Okay. Close enough, guys. Close enough. All right. So y'all can see right there, upper frame. So this is the part that I'm going to try and remove. Should be just two number 2 Phillips. we go. I'm going to put those fasteners up and inside. All right. Now there should be 2 wires that are connected. Yep, right there. So one of the most important things to do is to check these wires and see if there's any sort of heat damage to these spade connectors. Come on. Okay, so this is the old unit. Man, it's not that old, and to have this kind of corrosion just after a couple months, what is going on? I thought this would at least be fine, but to have corrosion down below too, that's not good. Okay. So here's the replacement unit. You see, this is what the other one looked like too, just a couple months ago. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed this guy up through the hole into the reservoir, and then we're going to mount it right to the front, just the way the old one was. So first step is to find the hole and to make sure that it's clear. Okay. There we go. And the 2 spade connectors, got to make sure that they go on nice and tight, because that's all mains that's going to be going through there. All right. And now this module right here, just going to go up through the same hole. And we got 2 screws. Okay, notice how I didn't hammer down, just enough to get it threaded. There we go. Just pull it tight. There. Perfect. So I'm going to adjust the thermostat back to about half point, because you always want to calibrate up, never calibrate down. Calibrating up means that your temperature, you're going to start at like 140, and then when you get to 140 stable, you're going to go up to 150, and then 160. Never go above a certain percentage and then come down, because it takes forever for a reservoir this large to cool off. Just the same as it takes it forever to get hot, but you always want to calibrate from a lower energy source to a higher one, okay? So, this guy's in. Here's the old one. Good stuff. Next, I'm going to show you guys what I do to clean up some fasteners. Okay. So even though it doesn't look like it, over here I have a wheel, or a wire wheel, to help clean up fasteners. And this is the first time I've used it in place, so I hope it's even plugged in. First thing first, we got to get rid of all the obstructions. You know, things that spin at a high velocity, cables just love getting caught up in there, so just pull those out. Yeah. All the stuff that likes getting caught. All right. Well, that's good enough, guys. Next, let me get my eye protection on. And let me get the fastener. So the fastener that I'm going to be cleaning up is the nut that was on the old one. Because the replacement part didn't come with one, I'm going to go ahead and use this part. And I'm going to use it with a set of vice grips to clean it up nice and quick. There we go. Oh, of course not. All right. You guys probably expected that that wasn't plugged in. All right, let's see. All right. Details. Because I have kids, I unplug a lot of my rotary devices just in case they come in here one day and want to goof around. All right. Whew, that light is affecting me. Apparently nothing's plugged in. Oh well. So you can see what you can do with a wire wheel. Really quickly, you can go from corrosion to clean. Nice. Now all I'm going to do is rotate this one notch. Clean it again. Right. Nice. So there you go. Take a look at that. That is a beautiful part. I'll go ahead and leave my iPro over there. Okay. Next is to assemble. All right. This is actually going a little bit faster than I was expecting. There we go. Now you guys can get a good angle. Okay, so you can see I pulled it up through the panel right here. Notice all the corrosion around the port. We have to clean that out. So you cannot leave a bunch of garbage down there in order to get a good seal. So what I've got is one of these sandy wipes. You guys know them. They're pretty good for prepping surfaces. Wow. Look at all the residue that they're pulling off the bottom of this pan. That is crazy. What did these users do to this poor device? Okay. Man, whatever they did, they definitely they left some sort of liquid in here that was not pure. Okay, so next we've got the through panel O-ring. It goes up and over your temperature sensing bulb. There we go. Then the nut. So this is the part that a lot of people actually get wrong, is they crank these down, and you do not have to crank them down. If you crank them down too much, you're going to squish the washer to the point where it's going to displace itself and it's no longer going to seal. So it's a big common problem when I see people, they just squish the hell out of this and it no longer offers the protection that it did. So next, we're going to angle this guy to run parallel to the heating element, just like so. Right here. Man, something caustic was put in here because this heating element, which was brand new just a few months ago, having that kind of scale on it, just reckless. Okay. So now that we got all those in, now what I got to do is put a little bit of water in here and with a brush try and clean it up. So, see this port right here? Before you ever put water in one of these devices, always go and make sure that the port is closed on the back of the machine. In other words, as soon as you put water in the device, it's gonna go out on your floor, and that's gonna suck. Okay, let's see. Let's clean the insides now. And to help me clean the insides, I'm going to use this brush right here, which is going to be hooked up to my drill or my impact. Okay, that should be enough water. Now, since this device is stainless steel, you guys should know that bleach should never be used on stainless steel without cleaning it off correctly, because bleach will pit the stainless steel. It kind of eats it. So just be aware of that. I don't know what they put in here, but if they tried using bleach as a sanitizing agent, it will destroy your stainless steel. And I know that from experience from brewing beer. Okay, so this is pure, natural Houstonian water. And I've got my drill set up. Oh, actually, that's definitely not fast enough. Woo! Gonna go nice and easy around these guys. Wow, look at all that residue. You can see I'm holding the heating element because I don't want it to move very much. Now, since I don't know what chemicals they're using in this, obviously I'm going to wash my hands pretty soon. All right, that's looking pretty good. So now all I'm doing is scrubbing down some of the sides. You guys get the point. You can see all the muck that's in there. That's all stuff from when the user gave me this device to repair. Not good. Anyway, guys, how crazy is that? So anyway, hold on. Since I don't know what that stuff was that's inside it, it could be caustic, probably is caustic, and I don't want it on my skin. So there we go. So that's technically the thermostat changed out. Now the next step I have to do is I set it to the halfway point, and now I'm going to wash it out completely, because the last thing I want to do is heat up a heating element with all that garbage on it, because you're just going to continue to damage it, right? So the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to test for leaks, and if it's not leaking, do not tighten it anymore. So you guys seen that nut, I was tightening it with my hand, because it doesn't take much to get that rubber gasket to seal. You tighten it up too much, that rubber gasket will deform, and now you just create a leak. That's the problem that most people have. So right now, it shouldn't be leaking. I'm going to put some more water in there, and then I'm going to test it for leaks. Good stuff. And also, adding pure water to it will help dilute whatever that solvent is that was in there, that agent that was on all the surfaces. Hopefully the water dilutes it and neutralizes it, because that obviously was destructive to the metals. So I'll let that settle, and then I'm going to check it for leaks, then dry it out, and then go ahead and do my temperature sets. That is going to take a couple hours. And there's no way I'm going to do a live stream for a couple hours, because I do not see that as valuable content. But you guys see that there's a process. When you have something that's damaged, change out the part, clean it, and then you gotta set your temperatures and everything. The customer for this one wants 160 degrees. They want 160, I'm gonna get them their 160. We're gonna make this happen somehow. All right, so anyway, guys, distilled water, yeah, see, they weren't using distilled water, but even so, in a couple months, it still, even if they're using tap, it shouldn't have created the scaling. They're adding something into the bath. I don't know if it's a cleaning agent. I don't know if it also could be the heat packs. The heat packs themselves could be contaminated. Let's say some goober soaked them in bleach or something to try and whiten them up, because they're kind of like a semi-cloth type of pack that's filled with some sort of stuffing. And normally they're just really dense, long packs, and they pull them out. They're on an organizing rack, which I got the organizing rack over there. And, you know, I think that maybe those are contaminated. So whatever they're using to hold them, to clean them, I don't know. I think it has something to do with the packs themselves. So we'll have to figure that one out. All I know is they're paying me to change out this thermostat. Even though I told them I don't know if the thermostat is really the problem, they said, well, just do it. I said, okay, I got you. And here we are. So next couple hours of my life, we got some cleaning to do, and just is what it is, man. Huh. Anyway, guys, I'm going to do a regularly scheduled live stream where we will go ahead and do real teardowns on real things. And now that I'm starting to partner up with other biomeds and other biomed companies, I might even be out in the field doing these live streams. But I am going to make it so that you guys can call in on a particular day, and we can chat. We can, if you have questions or whatnot, I'll see if I can answer them, or reach out through my network and try and get them answered, one or the other, and just make it a regular production. It's the plan, and it's been my plan for a long time, and now I finally have the equipment to do it. So, guys, I want to thank you all for tuning in, because this really does matter a lot to me, and I hope that you guys enjoy these little live stream productions. I know it takes a long time, but it is what it is. Eventually I'm going to be doing this regularly for a job. Yeah, right now this is not my job. All right, so guys, thanks a lot for watching, and if you have any questions, go ahead and write them in the comments down below, and I will see if I can get to them maybe in another live stream. More to come, guys.